Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Reese, and I'm excited for you to join me today as we're going to be discussing the pitfalls of peach harvest and paperwork. Welcome to FieldClock, and I'm excited for you to join and learn a little bit more about a digitized system. So if you're unfamiliar or if you've kind of heard a little bit, let me tell you more just about FieldClock. FieldClock is an app-based timekeeping system that makes it really easy for your people, for your employees, to clock themselves in and out. What that means is instead of paper time cards, all of this information, their time comes right to you. When their day is done, their day is done. When your day is done, your day is done. We digitize information that's difficult to calculate, keep accurate, and ultimately what you need to stay compliant. We'll talk about all of those things over the course of the next 20 minutes or so. But let me give you an idea of where FieldClock started. FieldClock was created by farmers for farmers. One of our founders, he's a first generation farmer, and he and his wife were growing apples, pears, and cherries, and they were recording time, attendance, as well as production by hand. They were out in the morning handing out time cards and then having to collect those little punch cards at the end of the day to calculate piecework. So at the end of the day, he and his wife, along with a few other employees, were going through and tallying all these little punch cards. And it would take about an hour at least every day to go through that. And that was with a decent amount of employees. So, as many of you can understand, there's a lot of work to be done after work. And what does that information really do for you? So that's how FieldClock was started. We wanted a really easy way for Ryan and his wife to be able to have their employees clock in, record that production, and instead of at the end of the day spending time making calculations, they actually were able to look at their information and make better business decisions. So FieldClock was started back in 2015. As many things in agriculture are, they started working with their friends and neighbors to see, hey, look, this solution works for me. Does it work for you? So about 2017, we went live. Over the course of the next 10 years, we really learned all about piecework, all about timekeeping, and I'll go over those nuances with you. And it's really important to understand that FieldClock is a farm-based system that is meant for your unique operations. Um, Two things I'd like to call out, which I'll talk about a little bit more at the end as well, is our partnership with ADP. So over the course of those 10 years, we started working with a lot of small farms that really struggled to utilize really large payroll systems like QuickBooks and others, just because they didn't really understand their operation. So what FieldClock did is created a partnership with a really big name, a reputable payroll system that allows our farmers to have that really small family farm feel where you know who you're working with and we understand your operation. The last piece I'd like to throw in is our partnership with Farm Bureau. We are now a member benefit for 21 Farm Bureau states, and I couldn't be more proud of that affiliation. As I mentioned, FieldClock is a time-based or a timekeeping system for farms, and not just apples, pears, cherries, or peaches, if you will, but we work with farms of all shapes and sizes. It doesn't matter what you're growing or whether you're in an area that doesn't have great service, or maybe you only have a handful of people as opposed to hundreds or thousands. Our system was designed and it's configurable to work with your unique operation regardless of the size and complexity. So let's take a step back and talk about how many of our American farms are currently capturing time and attendance for their employees. And this is where I'd like to just give a little bit more about me as well, because I like to use myself as an example as I'm talking about certain things. I was growing apples and peaches in New Jersey. So for me, I was running a exclusively pick your own business. So what that meant for us is that we only had a handful of employees throughout the year. And then during peak season, starting in peach thinning, uh, and going all the way through the end of our apple season, we had a slow roll of employees on board and join us. And we were capturing time and attendance, their hours on paper time cards, and I paid them weekly. So towards the end of the season, we would have anywhere from 85 to 95 part-time employees working on the weekend, where I had to capture their hours and then pay them appropriately. Now, many of you are doing that, and I'm sure it's actually harder for you because you're doing piecework as well. But the process of writing down your hours on piece of paper, having someone in your office or yourselves, because many of us are small family farms where you wear many hats, where you're having to calculate their hours, record them on a piece of paper, enter it into your payroll system, and then pay your people. There's a lot of room for human error, even from the time cards themselves. So let's say it's Monday morning, you're ready to run payroll, and you realize several employees didn't fill out their time cards. Man, so now you have to send them a text, give them a call, send them a text message. What if they don't get back to you in time? You can't delay pay. So a lot of us are overinflating their pay. Well, everybody else clocked out at this time, so it should be safe to assume that they clocked out at that time too. Now, either you've underpaid them or you've overpaid them, or maybe you're right, but you shouldn't be guesstimating or overpaying your employees as an insurance policy, because that information goes downstream with you. So again, you're estimating or overpaying your employees. Now, when it comes to taxes and compliance, your payroll is higher, your compliance is not quite there either. Imagine having paper time cards, an auditor comes in or wage and hour comes in, and now they want to know what happened on May 15th, right? You're really crossing your fingers and hoping that everyone filled out their time cards appropriately as you sort through this bundle of um, rubber band stacks of time cards to try to find this. Well, all I can say is pen and paper certainly does work, but what are you getting? Are you able to make better business decisions? Is it easy to pull your information? And I know for a fact that it's not. And what FieldClock does is we've created a really easy to use system for your employees. The easier it is for your employees to tell you where they are and what they're doing, it makes it easy for you to pay them and then also run some really comprehensive reports. And what I love about FieldClock, one of the things I love about FieldClock is that we offer a suite of tools that are designed for your unique operation in mind. So we don't piecemeal all of our tools and you have to pay for certain things. No, what we do is we look at this and say, how can all of the tools that we have, how can you use them so that it's easy for you and your team? So you can use one or a few of these options. So just to talk about them a little bit, we have our mobile app. So our mobile app can be used by an independent employee that comes to work and maybe clocks themselves in and out. It can be used by a crew boss, a supervisor, a foreman, where they clock your employees in and out and record production. So it can be used multi-user access for your harvest operation and harvest crew. It can also be used by the owners as well. So let's say you're working alongside your employees and you just want to know where everybody is. Great. Let's say you have an off-farm job, as many of us do. Awesome. Now you can see where all of your employees are throughout the day. We also have a kiosk app that is meant for a standalone independent clock in, clock out. So you have an old iPad or cell phone that you leave in the shop or packing shed, where your employees can simply clock in when they get there and clock out when they leave. It's just a really fast, easy way to just capture start and end times for your day. Now, all of this information floods right back to our admin site. Something to point out, all of our apps are available in both English and Spanish. Doesn't matter as long as if your device is in Spanish, it's automatically in Spanish. If it's English, it's automatically in English. And I love that too, because many of us are using harvest crews, and maybe in the field, we primarily speak Spanish. It's going to streamline your operation and information sharing from the field to the office, regardless of your language. Now, coming back to the office on our admin site at fieldclock.com, that's where all of your employee hours generate, where you can review them. And instead of calculating them and entering them, you're simply reviewing and finalizing or making some quick edits. From here, you can run some really comprehensive reports. And what's great is you're not stuck at a specific desktop or location. You can access your admin site profile from wherever you are. The last piece we have is our proprietary employee portal. So this allows some transparency between you and your staff. Your employees can use their cell phone number to log in, and they can see their hours that they've worked. They can also see production if that's something that you're recording. And I really like this because it does provide that transparency, and it really does help prevent any retroactive changes. So they're going to see, hey, I picked 5 bins and you only gave me credit for 4. Great, let's check that out before I run payroll. So now let's put all of the pieces together. Now we have your employees clocking in and clocking out from the field. So you're giving them the ability to have accuracy in their time because they're doing it right away instead of from memory. It's going to lead to less paperwork or a chance of human error. Again, they're entering this information in the field. It's coming right to you. It's going to give you that real-time reporting, whether you just would like to know how many hours they're accruing or understand how many hours they've worked maybe in your one variety, your Loring versus your Glowhaven or whatever it is that you have. And it's going to streamline your payroll as well. So regardless of the payroll system you're using, we're able to create a file from the information they're giving you that's going to flow right into your payroll system. So again, reducing human error. And when it comes to taxes and compliance, I'm sure many of you know, especially if you've had a labor audit or if you hire any H-2A employees, you really want that accuracy of being able to pull up immediately when my employees clocked in, when they clocked out, and what their day looked holistically without having to sort through a lot of boxes of information. Now, I do really like this quote by Blaine, but I look at this from my point of view and my experience. So running a pick your own operation, we were open 7 days a week, which meant I was working 7 days a week. I'd be out there before my employees were. I would get home or leave the office after my employees had already left for the day. And a lot of times, especially after those weekends, I would really have to stay hours after handling reports and payroll, because if I didn't, it would take me days and days and days if I only had, if I tried to do it like once a week. And like many of you, I have a family. I have 2 young kids. So for me, any time that I can get home early is time spent with my family. And that's extremely valuable to me. And I know it's extremely valuable to you. So switching gears a little bit and just talking a little bit more about the cost of labor and our AWR, so the average effect wage rate. Just talking about the increase that we've been having since 2024 now to 25. We've had about a 6% increase on average in the cost of labor. So this graph really is designed just to talk about how the cost of labor is continuing to go up, and that's not even including housing, transportation, record keeping, compliance, all of these things that lead to significant overhead with labor expenses. The cost of labor could not be any higher. And we're here, FieldClock is here to be able to give you some real-time insight into your operation. Where is your labor expense going, and how can you maximize your existing labor to be able to get more out of those dollars that you're spending? For those of you who record production, great. Let's see which employees are your top performers. Which ones aren't performing as well? How are your employees spending their day? Do you have employees that maybe are higher earners that are mowing the yard instead of maybe doing something else that would be more effective for their time and their pay rate? It really gives you a deep insight into your operation in real time to make those better business decisions and to really maximize your existing labor force. Now, again, just talking a little bit more about calculating the true cost of peach labor. Harvesting peaches is very labor intensive. Even if you're a pick your own as well, you have to have a lot of staff in order to manage the employees that are coming in. With FieldClock, we make it really easy for your employees to tell you where they are and what you're doing, which helps you job cost, or what we call block level reporting. It's a measure of how long your crews spend in each field. If you're tracking production or paying piecework, you're able to track your bins or truckloads picked per worker per block. And this really helps to prevent over or underpaying your crews based on inaccuracy. Additionally, if you are recording production, this is the start of traceability and food safety. And if you have specific questions on that, I'd be more than happy to talk a little bit more about that one-on-one. Also, just by tracking your block level performance over time, you can maybe see how well your varieties are performing. You can adjust your pest management strategies. You can make a lot of decisions based off of this easy to access record keeping that we provide. And I think one of the most important things to remember too is that all of this information is time-stamped, exportable, and backed up. And you really need to be able to have easy access to well-kept digital records when you need them, especially if there's an inspector on site. Speaking of inspectors on site, labor law compliance, farm labor contractors. We all know that growers can be held accountable for bad records, even if you're using a labor contractor. Even more so, we know that let's say something happens with a neighboring farm, it's going to draw attention to you and your area and the farms around you, which could have inspectors coming out to visit you and seeing how your operation is run. With a digitized system like FieldClock, again, we eliminate those manual errors and you have that easy access information. Also, the way that we have FieldClock configured and the way that we help you configure your account, we can make sure that you are following guidelines and your pay calculations are set up automatically so that you are going to remain in compliance. Specifically, for your state or your operation or your H-2A contract. And again, everything, because it's in real time, it's easy to access. You have audit ready transparency where you can either print this information out or share it with the inspectors that are right there. Hey, I can print this for you, or I can send it to your email, and it really helps facilitate that conversation with them and show them that you're willing to work with them. But at the same time, when you're able to quickly pull information, you can get them off your farm a lot faster. Switching gears back to payroll. I mentioned earlier that FieldClock partnered with ADP. So although we work with close to 3 dozen payroll systems, including QuickBooks, most of them aren't designed with farmers in mind. A lot of our mid-size and larger farms have specialized payroll systems that are focused on farms, but up to this point, small farms haven't had access to similar services. And we know this because we talk to small farms every day. It's mind-blowing, but I've had several customers tell me that their payroll system didn't know what a 943 tax filer was. A lot of times our farmers who are smaller, but they're still paying piecework, have a really hard time entering that information into their payroll system as well, because again, piecework is so nuanced. So what we've done is we've partnered with ADP so that you have a comprehensive set of payroll tools, but that they meet your specific farming needs. More so, you have our FieldClock team that's dedicated to answering your questions and being a support to you. So instead of calling your large payroll system directly, where you're speaking to somebody in another country, or you're speaking to one person today and another person tomorrow, so your conversations really don't build up or add to anything. You're talking to FieldClock. We're able to answer your questions directly and one-on-one. And if it's something that we don't have the answer to, we're able to utilize our direct channels through ADP to be able to get you those answers that you need. And then the next time we have a similar question, we're able to provide that guidance right away. So this is just a little bit more about FieldClock, what we've already been talking about. But again, it's embedded right in our system. And one of the things that I do want to mention is we have our timekeeping system and that suite of tools. They are included in all of our plans. The only thing that is a separate line item is our payroll, and I can certainly go over pricing with you as well. But I will say this, of all the systems that are out there, FieldClock payroll powered by ADP is going to be a really great bang for your buck, and it's extremely competitive to what is out there right now, if not more affordable. With ADP, you're going to get your tax prep, you're going to get your documents, you can pay your employees direct deposit, live checks. You even have the ability to have pay card integration directly through ADP with Wisely. So a lot of great information there, and I'd love to talk to you more about it if you have any specific questions. So I know we've covered a lot today, but I would love the opportunity to talk with you one-on-one. If you have any questions or you'd like to know maybe how FieldClock can help streamline your operation. I work with farmers each and every day. It's again one of my favorite parts about my job. I love to learn about you and your family and how FieldClock might be able to help you as well. There's no hard sales pitch for me. I'd like to be a resource for you, so feel free to shoot me an email, give me a call, shoot me a text, whatever you need. I'm here to help. But thank you so much for your time today, and I appreciate you checking us out.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. We have a couple of folks here in the Q&A panel below. Also, I didn't mention at the beginning, if anybody else has questions, Q&A right below there, but we do already have a couple of questions in here. Let me start with, I'm going to go right up to the top. We'll just do them in the order that they came in. So Isabella is asking, does the app track both hourly and task-based work so that we can compare tasks per acre?
Yes, absolutely. So multi-user access. So you can switch from hourly jobs to piecework tasks. You can also have reporting just broken down by tasks as well. So we make reporting a breeze simply by just having your people select where they are and what they're doing, and everything in between we're able to report on. So absolutely.
Awesome. Ethan's asking, what kind of hardware do we need? Will older iPhones or Android phones still run the app smoothly? Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's a great question. I definitely need to look at which how far back we go, but I do know that if your phone is able to take a picture and download an app, then you are good to go with FieldClock on both Apple and Android. It doesn't matter. Your employees are going to have this same experience with both.
And that's one thing I love about the FieldClock app as well. A lot of other software that you use, whether it's desktop based or otherwise, you often have to pay for upgrades, or the upgrades can be kind of laborious. Whereas on an iPhone or an Android, it updates as often as we upload them to the App Store. So it makes it much more seamless.
That's a great point, Nico. One of the things that I love about FieldClock from the other systems that are out there is that we are app-based and we're constantly improving our systems, and our customers get the benefit of those constant improvements. We're always learning from our customers, our clients, and our system is just getting better as a result. And if you are a partner with FieldClock and you're using us, your experience is just going to get better and better over time.
Absolutely. Oh, good one from Carlos here. So he's asking, and we've heard this one before too. How do you prevent employees from clocking in for a friend or starting too early?
Sure, that's a really great question. So we have a couple of different ways for your employees to clock in. One, either they have their own individual profile that just allows them to clock in, clock out. We use badge systems as well. So each of your employees can get something like this, where they would clock in, and they'd be clocking in either again at a kiosk or with a supervisor, which really helps prevent buddy punching. That same kiosk, you can also use a pin and a photo, which captures a photo of your employee, and they have to put their own unique identifier in. So we're really going to be able to reduce buddy punching in a very easy way.
He's actually, so follow-up question from Carlos. He's asking, how secure is the data, and can I restrict access so foremen can only see the data and not other employees? I'm assuming he means employees seeing other employee records.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are different roles within FieldClock that allow specific use and access. So for instance, I'm a company or I'm an administrator, so I have access to everything. There's a manager or a crew boss setting where they're only allowed to see a very limited amount and interact with the system in a limited amount. Now, the other thing to keep in mind too, the majority of your employees are just going to be employees that are clocking in and clocking out, and they don't have access to the internal system. They just have access to clock themselves in and out, and that is it. So we can certainly talk about that a little bit more if you'd like to contact me afterwards, but great question, and we can tailor that experience to however you need it.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it earlier too, Ashley, when you were talking about the different apps. But our employee portal, a lot of our clients love using this with their employees because it is a singular one-to-one. They can log in from any cell phone just using their own cell phone number, and it gives them a very detailed report of just the hours that they've worked for that particular time period. So it cuts off a lot of confusion before payroll. Let's see, two more actually. Sophia was asking, can supervisors enter quality grades or notes in the field so they know which rows might need a little extra work?
Yeah, absolutely. With our crew boss setting, they have the ability to capture notes. If you're looking for more advanced quality control, we certainly have that available. We have a lot of our customers using our advanced quality control notes to capture color, to capture quality, you name it. Even they can be used to generate heat illness prevention breaks, you name it. Whatever specific types of information you want to capture, we can certainly utilize those quality control nodes.
Awesome. Last one here. So Noah is asking, can I create customized reports to show labor costs by variety?
Absolutely. It is the easiest thing in the world to run that report because your employees are capturing where they are, what they're doing, their variety, and all of those data points. It's very easy to break them out and say, how much am I spending on this variety or this crop or at this block, at this field. It's very, very easy to do, and I'd love to show you if you have time.
Excellent. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, so right down there at the bottom of that slide, feel free and contact Ashley, and happy to run through a more customized version because we know farmers operate in a very specific and unique ways all across various operations. So FieldClock, as Ashley mentioned, is designed to be extremely customizable. So if you're looking for a more in-depth, detailed demo that shows how FieldClock can work specifically for your farm, absolutely, reach out. Thanks again for taking the time, Ash.
Thank you so much. It was nice to talk to everyone, and have a great day.